All right, welcome back, guys. We are with Tyler Shirk today. He's with BearBNB. He does short-term rentals all around Kansas City Metro and beyond, right?
Yeah, all over the country.
Very cool. So tell us a little bit about your business, how you got to where you are, how you got started.
Yeah, it's a long story, but long story short, I started off in the industry about 10 years ago as a wholesaler.
Yeah.
I did a couple deals. It wasn't for me. So my whole career, I've let the market kind of push me where I needed to be.
Yeah.
And then I got into becoming a contractor, and I would work with investors to help them flip their houses. And I did that for 6-7 years. And during that time period, I met a couple mentors, one of them being a man by the name of Joe Williams, which most people know here. And he kind of taught me how to run a business.
Mm-hmm.
And then I met another mentor by the name of Megan Duma, who's an incredible lady, best friend in the world. She's a lawyer, broker. She had 8 very luxurious Airbnbs in Kansas City back before everybody was doing it.
Right.
So I had done a couple flips with her and helped maintain her Airbnbs. And then she came to me one day and asked me if I would like to learn how to do it.
Yeah.
And I'm the type of person that if you offer me an opportunity and I don't know how to do it, I'm going to say yes and figure it out along the way.
Yeah.
Somebody else said that quote a long time ago, but I like it.
Yeah.
So for 2 years, I let her mentor me under her, teaching me how to do Airbnb the right way and her expensive properties. And I still remember, it's the funniest thing in the world. In one of her mansions, she has a bear pelt on the wall. And, you know, my companies are always called Brown Bear and BearBNB. She's
right.
just like, that'll be you.
Yeah.
If you have a party at my Airbnb or if you let something happen, right?
Yeah.
So for 2 years, she taught me how to do it. And she's still my client to this day. I do her on kind of on the side. We just have a separate relationship.
Mm-hmm.
But she taught me everything I needed to know. I learned it. And then it was really kind of serendipitous because all of the people that I'd flipped houses for, I flipped about 200 houses.
Yeah.
All of those investors started getting into Airbnbs.
Right.
And I was the only one that knew how to manage Airbnbs. Plus, I had good relationships with all of those folks from the work that I'd done with them.
Yeah.
So I went from her 9 to 30 to 50 to 80, and now we're at 130, and we got 10 or 12 full-time employees and about 40 cleaners.
Very cool.
And we're in 8 or 9 different states.
Awesome. So you're both Kansas and Missouri side here. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
we're kind of talking locally.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. So you've been in the Airbnb game really then before it was a big deal.
Yeah.
So what have you noticed as far as like how it's evolved since you know, you started?
Yeah. So Airbnb's been around for probably about 20 or 30 years now. It started off as kind of like a couch surfing thing.
Mm-hmm.
So like, you know, it was in California, and if you needed a place to stay for a couple of days, couple of weeks, you rent out a room in somebody's house or a couch or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And then it evolved into an investor model because of the earning potential and all of that.
Right.
There's been a lot of changes, but mostly it's all about hospitality and I call it a decentralized hotel.
Yeah.
You got to be very hospitable. I always teach my staff, it doesn't matter who's right or wrong. The story I always tell everybody is I had a guest want me to bring them a corkscrew on Thanksgiving Day.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous in
Right.
my mind, but it doesn't matter because in the long run, without getting into the whole thing, the Airbnb algorithm operates off of an interest and satisfaction based algorithm,
Mm-hmm.
meaning every 5-star review puts you higher in the algorithm. Anything lower than a 5-star review puts you lower in the algorithm.
Yeah.
So the thought process is, hey, I can take some time out of my Thanksgiving Day and take this corkscrew over. It's ridiculous. But if this guest decides that they didn't have a good service and they leave us a low star review, this client of mine is going to lose a lot of money by showing up in less search results. So that's the main thing that's changed, is it went from being mostly just a person doing it on the side, you know, to more of a real professional business model now.
Yeah.
And there's good with that, but there's also bad with that. The smaller operators, the people that just kind of do it on the side, they don't have that level of service. They don't have the maintenance guy is always available and the cleaner is always available and somebody to go run supplies and do all of that. So they're suffering because they're not able to provide the level of service that a bigger company or service provider does.
Right.
That's the main change. The second thing that I think would be interesting, to consider, or if you're into Airbnbs, is just kind of the policies and the legislation that's went along with it.
Mm-hmm.
The reason that it's been legislated the way that it has is because just people that don't know and inexperienced, or people that are chasing the money and they don't care about the consequences. Yeah. They're allowing people to book their houses that they should probably screen, or they should probably make sure, like, hey, you says you're 20 and you're from Kansas City and you're booking my house for New Year's Eve. I don't really believe you're coming here to play board games. Right. But a lot of people just, they don't know, they don't have the experience, or they also just want the money. Right. So what happens is the people in the neighborhood, understandably so, in my opinion, get upset with that. Mm-hmm. And then they go complain to the cities, and then the cities don't understand the benefits that short-term rentals bring. Mm-hmm. A lot of them don't. Mm-hmm. So they're just like, hey, here's something that, my constituents are complaining about, and I don't understand it. So let's just get rid of it so it's not a problem for me anymore. Yeah. But the thing that I would encourage people to consider is, short-term rentals, people think of them as like a vacation home. Right. In Florida, sure. In California, sure. In Kansas City, it's not that. In Kansas City, it's, for example, I have a family that's in one of my houses right now because their house burned down.
Yeah.
And their insurance provider reached out to me, and they're paying for them to stay in our home for 3 months while they remodel the house. It's a lot of that. Or if an agent sells your house and you can't move into the next one for 3 weeks, you come to our Airbnbs. Or last year in Prairie Village, when there was a power outage from the snow, you don't have any heat in your house, you come stay at our Airbnbs. And the cool thing about it really is you don't have to uproot your whole life. You don't have to take your whole family and move them into a hotel on the other side of town and try to continue with your daily life. You go right down the street to your friend's Airbnb and you've got a whole house and everything's there. You can just continue your life. So that to me is the most important thing that people don't consider. And it goes along with the changes of it starting as a smaller kind of just a side gig for people into a real valuable industry for the city.
Yeah. So tell me about like the current demand landscape across the metro. Like, what are people looking for? You mentioned, displacement and things like that, but is there anything else? Of course, World Cup coming up, but anything right now that's driving your business?
So I'm going to give you some information that a lot of people don't know. I always tell everybody any house can be an Airbnb. It just depends on what your holding cost is. If you have a 2-bedroom house and your mortgage is $800 a month, that's a successful Airbnb. But if you want to make the most return, or if you have a higher mortgage, you need to have a larger house. The reason for that is a lot of people kind of think of Airbnbs as hotels. It's kind of the furthest from what they are. They're not really a hotel, because I own this company. And if my wife and I are traveling and we're just going to go through your city for a day, I don't need to pay you $600 to stay there. I'm just going to get a hotel, be in and out, or whatever. But if your family and my family both have kids on a softball team and we're coming to Kansas City for a tournament, there's 10 of us. Where are we going to stay? Are we going to get 5 different hotel rooms and not have laundry facilities and not have a yard? Maybe we have to bring Fido with us. So the houses that perform the absolute best on Airbnb and platforms like Airbnb are going to be 4-bedroom, 2-bath plus homes. Once you get into 5 or 6-bedroom homes, you're in a neighborhood kind of all by yourself. You have hardly any competition, and you're able to just kind of you're able to make a lot of money, because on average, a 5 or 6-bedroom house is renting for about $300, $350 a night. They're splitting it amongst 8 different adults, so that cost to them is negligible.
Exactly. Very cool. So we talked a little bit about regulations and things like that, and this, especially here in the metro, I know things have changed a lot. So tell me kind of what you noticed, or what do you know? How can you share with us about what is going on around regulations, especially coming up to World Cup next year?
So it's an interesting topic. I'm not the most political person or the most educated in the political dealings, but I do believe a lot of it is politically motivated, because what I've noticed is cities that lean a certain way are more welcoming and inviting to Airbnbs, rather than cities that lean another way. There's politicians and other just city type people that they'll blame Airbnbs on the housing crisis and things of that nature. And just to set that record straight, when Airbnb was banned in Kansas City, there was 210,000 homes. There was 2,000 Airbnbs. It was less than 1% of available housing in Kansas City. So it was a completely ridiculous thing, but it was just like the political fire at that time, and it's what people used. But the most important thing to consider is, if you're going to get into an Airbnb, it's a large investment. You're paying for a house, you're paying for $25,000 or so worth of furniture. So you want to make sure that you're making a safe and sound investment. So you would want to go to cities that have already had city council meetings regarding Airbnbs, because maybe an issue came up, or maybe they saw that there were so many of them and that they needed to make rules. And several local suburbs have done that, and they've decided they like Airbnbs. They like the revenue that they bring in. They like the service that they provide to the city. And I've spent a lot of time with those cities, talking to them, telling them the things they don't think about, just everything that's not just the big flash point in the pan. But those are the cities that we like to work in. And those cities are Olathe and Shawnee and Lenexa and Overland Park and Liberty, and then downtown Lee Summit. Surprisingly, so Lee Summit, you can only do Airbnbs in what's called the Old Town Master Development Plan area. Stick a pin in the middle of downtown Lee Summit, go a mile in any direction. That's the only place you can do them. But I think it works out fantastic. A lot of the cities that have implemented rules or bans or whatever, they go by a density thing. They don't want too many Airbnbs in one area, which is completely understandable. Which is why I like Lee Summit's model. The downtown areas where we want people to be, it's where we want things to go on. So we're going to let those houses be Airbnbs, and then everybody that doesn't want to be around that can live in the other part of the community.
Right.
And I think that's a really good kind of solution for everybody.
Well, yeah, and that seems like that would help all those local businesses there. I mean, because I know downtown Lee Summit's a lot of local places, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure that drives business for them, be it your coffee shops, your restaurants, your bars, whatever is down there, versus, sticking them out in the middle of a suburb with a McDonald's around the corner, and that's about it, you know?
And it really helps. We put flyers for restaurants and bars in the places and tell them to go here. The ones that work with us, they give coupons and things like that. So I know it's driving their economy and it's helping them out for sure.
Right.
It's also helping out the city in general, in my opinion. You have people coming in and maybe they're spending their tax, or maybe they're spending their funds in downtown Lee Summit rather than driving out to Shawnee.
Right.
Because that's where the stuff that, they know about is at.
Yeah.
So I think it really helps.
Yeah. Love that. So the World Cup is coming, and everybody's been talking about it. What do you see? Have you already seen a demand surge? Are you seeing like rates that are different? Anything that is sticking out to you as far as that goes?
Yeah. The World Cup's going to be wild.
Yeah.
It's going to be crazy. I don't know if the city's ready for it.
Yeah.
I do know that we only have 30,000 hotel rooms in Kansas City.
Right.
And the latest figure I've heard several figures, but the latest one was 360,000 people coming here.
Yeah.
It's going to be a little wild.
Yeah.
But the demand is definitely up. I work with a company called Price Labs to set the pricing on our Airbnbs.
Yeah.
And I have, for the World Cup, I'm having weekly meetings with them. And the most valuable piece of information I can give you to kind of sum it up is, normally, when we're this far out from June, we're at a 0.4% demand.
Yeah.
Right now, we're at a 12% demand.
Oh,
it's exponential.
Wow. Yeah.
So it's crazy. And we're charging 10 times our normal rate.
10 times.
So houses that normally rent for maybe $100 a night, $1,000 a night.
Wow.
$200 a night, $2,000 a night. There's a hotel right by Arrowhead called the Lotus or something.
Yeah.
They're renting their hotel rooms for $2,500 a night.
Whew.
So it's going to be wild, and there's going to be some people that make some good money.
Yeah.
I have other people out here in the Airbnb world in Kansas City that are kind of putting numbers on it. I'm not comfortable because we don't know.
Yeah.
But I do think it's going to be, tens of thousands.
Yeah.
At least, maybe if you have a small house, maybe 10,000 or so over June and July, because it's almost a month and a half long.
Yeah.
But if you have a larger house, 20, maybe 30,000 is very possible.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, and just, that multiplier, that 10 times or so is telling, especially that combined with now 12% demand over less than 0.5%. That's
it's crazy.
It's crazy.
We're looking into offering other services too. Like these people are going to be coming from overseas.
Yeah.
So they're not going to be driving here. So we're partnering with Uber drivers and Door Dashers and people like that. Like, hey, you need rides to the grocery store, or you need rides to whatever you're going to do in town. I'm going to try to partner with, we have some newer businesses in town that do tours and things like that. So we're going to try to help out all of those small businesses. We're really big about small businesses.
Yeah.
It's a path to freedom for me.
Right.
So we're big about helping them. And, I was in an Uber last night getting a ride home because my truck was getting an oil change. And it was funny because the guy, he couldn't understand me in English. So I translated it on my phone and had it speak to him. I was like, do you want to Uber for the World Cup?
Yeah.
And then
I got something for you.
Yes. I was like, all right, let's do it. Give me your number. So we're going to put those people's contact info in our welcome guides.
I love it.
You're in town. We realize you're not from here. You're going to need some help getting around, navigating. Here's some numbers you can call to get what you need.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, and so all of that, we've been talking about this in our groups too, but do you foresee any struggles with like infrastructure or how the city is set up currently to take on that number of people?
Yeah, definitely. I don't think Kansas City was designed with an event this big in mind.
Yeah.
I think it's fantastic that Kansas City's been growing. Man, I've lived here for 41 years, and this is the only time I've ever actually liked living here.
Yeah.
I didn't not like it, but it was just boring. It was downtown.
Yeah.
But now we have some stuff going on. But I think that, personally, I don't think that Kansas City is ready for an event like this, but I don't want it to not be here.
Right.
I think it's going to be awesome. I think it's going to help put Kansas City a little bit more on the map. But, as you saw with the 169 highway and that, I think we're going to have issues like that. I think that Kansas City is just still kind of learning how to be a bigger city.
Yeah.
And I think this is going to expose a lot of those struggles. Something kind of humorous to consider is our Airbnbs are full right now with workers from out of state because the city's trying to make the city look more presentable for the World Cup. As you've seen on 70 heading out past the Jackson Curve, they cleared off all the woods and everything. So there's a lot of work going on, and hopefully it's going to turn out really good for the city. But I do think we're going to face some challenges, particularly with, transportation and housing, because there's just not enough Airbnbs for one, and there's not enough hotels. So we have people booking as far out as Branson and Iowa and Nebraska, St. Louis. It's going to be a big deal. And we're only going to have a limited amount of housing here to put them in. So that's going to be tough.
Well, especially if they're full now with just the people working. I mean, that's a fraction of the people that want to come to attend, you know? Interesting. But well, what do you think on the converse? What do you think is going to really shine about Kansas City whenever we do have all of these guests from all over the world coming to see our city?
I think there's a lot of things, and us being Kansas Cityans, I think we all know it and we beat it to death with a stick, but we have some good Midwestern hospitality, in my opinion. I like to travel. It's one of the reasons I really like Airbnb. I have Airbnbs in other places I can go visit. I love visiting other cities and other regions, but it's really crazy to me. Kansas City still has the nicest people, in my opinion. Everybody here, you hold a door, they say thank you. You go do that on the East Coast, they look at you like you're stupid. What are you doing? But I think our hospitality is going to really shine. I think that it's really cool. We're a sports town, and we're a big sports town. And I think, not a lot of us are too much into soccer, but I think that there's a growing population of us that like soccer, myself included. But I think that our sports environment is going to shine here. I think that we have a pretty nice Hispanic community here that's going to really show out for that. I think they're going to teach us how to be good soccer fans. And we're going to get to experience some really cool stuff with that. I think that our food is going to be something that people love. Of course, our barbecue, but also like our ethnic foods that we have that, Southwest Boulevard and other neighborhoods like that. I think those are the things that are going to really shine. And so basically, to sum it up, I think it's going to be our hospitality and our food and our sports team environments.
Love it. Well, and that kind of leads me, and I always ask people when they're in here, what's your favorite barbecue in Kansas City?
Oh man, that's tough. I love Joe's. That's the staple, like Joe's is great. Jack Stack is good if you're going out for a nice evening with your significant other or work meeting or whatever. But my low key favorite is Slaps. Oh yeah. They have this sandwich. I forget what it's called, but it's ham, I believe. And they melt Provel cheese over it. And I am a huge Chiefs fan. Cheese fan. Both. But Chiefs fan as well. Both of them. But that thing, man, it's just, I might go get it after this.
There you go.
It's pretty good.
Love it. Love it. Love it. So we talked a little bit about your business, but run me through how these guys can book with you. How can they stay in one of your properties that you manage?
Right. So you can always go on Airbnb and VRBO and all of those platforms. Those are great. As a host, we love those platforms because they bring a large community to us and they help us get bookings. But the main goal is always to build your own direct book of business. If you can do that, then you're good to go. But we have our direct booking website. It's BearBNB or BearBNBKC.com. Sorry, I was thinking of my email. And then we also have, you can reach out to us at bookings@BearBNBKC.com. What we do is we ask, hey, send us an email and say, this is what I need. These are the dates I need it. This is my budget. This is my part of town I'd like to be in. And we'll send you all of the options that we have available. That's the easiest way to do it. Or if you don't want to talk to us, you can just go straight to our website. But if you book through the website or our email, we can skip all of the fees from the platforms, and it's a lot cheaper for everybody.
Right on. Very cool. Well, and that's important too. I mean, especially we do mortgage, right? And so a lot of the times we're looking for partners in this way that can help us with a gap between closing on the sale and closing on the buy. So it's good to know that we can reach out directly and get a hold of you.
I spend a lot of my time, kind of networking with brokerages so that they know we provide the service. You wouldn't believe it. It's a lot of contractors. Maybe you're getting your floors redone. You can't go in there for 3 days. Boom, come to an Airbnb.
Totally.
It's a lot of stuff like that. That's what Kansas City's Airbnbs are for. It's not vacations. Nobody's really looking to come here and party.
Right.
Maybe somebody's coming for a Chiefs game and they're going to go out to the bar and have a couple drinks, but nobody's coming here to throw a big old huge rager and do all of that. They're coming here to visit their family or have surgery or go to a sporting event, or things of that nature. And I think that's something important to consider. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I appreciate you coming and hanging out with us and letting us in on a little bit of your knowledge about Airbnb and, our insights for the upcoming year and all that is coming our way. But yeah, we'll look forward to seeing you again soon and through this
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Bye, guys. Thanks.